Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy 4th of July, even though it's the 5th of July. Welcome. Welcome. It's good to be here, and it is the beginning of what hopefully will be a manageable summer, a happy summer, a productive and healing summer, a summer of reconnection with friends and family and places and activities that perhaps we have not been able to enjoy in the last 15, 16 months. So, good morning, Linda. Thanks for being here. I'm grateful and honored to be able to connect in this way. We had some friends over last night for dinner, and I got into a deep and lengthy discussion around an opinion over which there was a deep disagreement. And it was a beautiful conversation. It was around a topic that's hot and important and big right now. And the only reason I don't want to say what the topic was is because I want to be able for anyone to extrapolate from what I want to share about it to any disagreement. It is really useful to enter these sorts of conversations with nuance and with information. And if we're going into the conversation without real information, it's okay to say, what I feel about this is ABC, but I don't really have enough information. I haven't done enough real reading to know the DEF and the XYZ about it. And so I'll defer to somebody who has read up enough. One of the beautiful things about this particular conversation was that in both cases, we did have information that was reliable, sourced from reputable places, not just crazy things we read on internet memes, or was fed by the very shaped funnel of social media that we know by now we don't have much control over. We are fed what the powers that be believe we want to see. So it wasn't like that. This was information that was sourced proactively, and we didn't change each other's mind. And that was one of the beautiful things about the conversation, was because we entered it not with that goal, but just to reach a place of understanding. Another thing about it was that we both felt safe enough in the space of our conversation to be able to share what we believe about these things, what we've come to understand about this topic. And that safety and that ability to speak from facts means a lot. Now, I want to differentiate this idea from the idea of where there's a clear right and wrong. And there are some areas where there is a clear right and wrong. And I think that they exist. Most of our differences of opinion are not black and white, do not land in the right and wrong. I think when you're considering whether there's simply a right or wrong, then the question to be asked is, does this affect the humanity of another person? Does this affect, does the right or does the wrong side of this opinion mean that someone is harmed outright or denied their humanity. And in those cases, this is not the sort of conversation that I'm recommending. I'm talking about the conversation where there is some nuance, where there is some play in the sides of the opinion. And what we came out of it with was a mutual respect that stemmed not from just wanting to respect the other person because we like each other. It was the respect that came from being able to dive into the particulars, the details, the gray areas of the conversation, fed by information and presented with patient kindness and understanding. I think that this sort of approach can be really useful in practicing movement methodology in the body, where the shallow satisfaction that comes from just performing a shape or a posture or going through the motions of something is not long lasting. But the deep satisfaction is to be patient, to take time, to gather information, and to then process that information through real time in the body, in the heart, in the mind. And then we've gotten something that's of real value. In the same way that trying to change somebody's mind is sort of shallow satisfaction. It's also shallow satisfaction in my mind to have the conversation in the opinion silo so that we're just contributing to the echo chamber. But the real satisfaction is to be able to listen, to be able to hear what the other person is reading and learning and processing and ultimately feeling. So let's come to the mat if you're practicing on the mat or just a simple steady ground, and we'll begin standing. You also might want to have some sort of pillow or blanket handy, which we'll use toward the end. So with palms together at the heart, take a few breaths. Feel the feet on the ground. Gather information from there to start with. How does it feel to meet the surface underneath your feet and to feel the soles of the feet soaking up the ground? And can you feel which parts of your feet are making contact? The mounds of the toes, perhaps the outer edges of the feet, the base of the heel on each foot. And then gather the information about which parts of the soles of your feet are rising up away and not actually touching the ground. We know that there are parts that do this. If you've ever seen a wet footprint on pavement or on sand, wet foot on dry sand, you can see the parts that rise up. So the soles, the arches of the feet, and the little baby arches underneath each toe. And because of the rounded shape of the heels, at some point, the bottom of the heel becomes the back of the heel. So that rounded, gradual rising away from the ground is an interesting place to put your mind, your consciousness. And then from the soles of the feet, rising up through the legs, notice which parts of the legs feel like they're working, they're participating in the upward rising action of energy that keeps you tall, that makes you vertical. And up through the crown of the head, which you can't feel unless you put your hand there, that you know is rising up in the same sort of curving action upward that is represented by the arches of your feet. And that curve at the back of the heel echoed at the curve of the back of the skull. And at some point, that curve lifts you up and connects you to the space above the body. We're gathering information so that we can have an informed, a useful conversation with ourselves to find out where we stand. And now on your next inhale, release the hands, sweep them out and up. Look up between the palms. Take another eager inhale, and then on the exhale, soften the arms, soften the knees, and soften the spine as you fall forward and hang the head. Gather information here from the hamstrings. You can shift the hips, feel how the pelvis is placed above the legs. Feel the back of the neck dropping into the base of the skull. Feel the breath making an easy circuit. And then bend the knees and look forward, and you can bring your hands up or leave fingertips down. Climb your shoulder blades up onto the upper back. And then fold down again. Straighten the legs, hang the head. Feel the hamstrings lengthening up into the pelvis and down into the backs of the knees. And then inhale all the way up. Sweep the arms out, reach nice and tall. And then palms together at the heart. And we'll do that 2 more times. Really simple and slow and deliberate as we gather information to see where we stand and to feel the alive nature inside of us. Shift the hips around a few times in the fold. Swing the torso if that feels nice and interesting. Pause at center, bend the knees a lot, lift the chest, lift the shoulder blades onto the upper back. Shine the heart forward, and then exhale, fold back down. And inhale, reach all the way up, reaching as you're grounding through the soles of the feet. Look up between the hands, rejoin the palms in front of the heart. 1 more time. Long, steady breaths. And then take the feet apart wide. Standing tall, ground the feet. Once again, explore the parts of the foot that are reaching down and the parts that are rising up. Notice if there's a flattening or a dropping in the arches. Roll the feet out so you seal the outer edges down into the ground. Pump up the energy in the legs a little bit from an initiation at the arches that are rising. So tap into that upward ascendant energy. Bring your hands to your hips. And now pivot one foot out to the side and the other heel behind you. And turn the torso, the upper chest from the rib cage to face the new front. And bring your torso forward in a fold. On the exhale, just far enough so that maybe you're parallel to the floor, maybe not even that far. and gather information here. So it's a patient observation, a meticulous intake of data from the body, from the feet, from the toes, the arches, the heels, the outer edges, and then from the calves and the shins and the knees and the thighs, front and back, from the pelvis. Is it tipped to one side or to the other side? Is it even? Just ask the questions and gather the data. And now from here, turn the heart open. Take some breaths. Hands are still on the hips. So you're helping ground the pelvis down into the legs, the feet, the ground. And then turn the heart so it faces forward, and then turn so it faces the other side. And then you're really kind of just shimmying the shoulders. There might be a little dance in there. And then back to center, and then rise up and pivot the feet to the other side. So the new back heel kicks back, the new front foot turns sideways. Spin the rib cage around to face the new forward, hands to the heart. Inhale, lift up tall. Exhale, bow down, pause and breathe. Gather information. How does it feel in the feet, in the calves, in the thighs, in the pelvis? Turn the heart to the open side. Stay here. Take a few breaths. Gather some data. Be patient. Be interested, curious. What's going on in there? And where is there tension? Where is there a feeling of being locked down or unavailable? And can you invite breath to those places to see if they'll respond? Does emotion come into play? Pay attention to that. Is something getting unlocked? Can you hold space for that? Breathe through it. Let's turn and face the ground and then swivel to the other side. Roll the shoulders around a little bit. And then back to face the ground. Pause there. You might consider deepening the fold for a moment and then rise up and face center again. Put the feet parallel. Bring your hands together at your heart. Take a willing and steady inhale and then exhale. And then inhale, reach all the way up. Look up between the hands. And exhale, fold forward. Down, 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 down. Release the head, release the jaw, release the breath. Put your hands somewhere and then maybe somewhere else and explore all the possibilities. You can bend one knee and then the other and slide the hips back and forth. So you can approach this like it's a research laboratory. Try this, try that, and notice what information you get. And there's bound to be nuance in the movement and in the information that you receive. Be open to it. Exhale all the way out. Come up part way, walk the hands forward a bit so the wrists are roughly under the shoulders. And then turn to one side and raise an arm. And linger there. And breathe and observe. And then soft arm, bring it down, turn to the other side. And breathe and observe. And release and hang the head and release the jaw and the neck. Bring the hands behind. Lace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Raise the hands, raise the arms. And breathe. And release. Bend the knees. Put your hands on your thighs. Press your hands down as you rise up slowly. And then bring the feet together. And now we'll come down to the ground on the back, knees bent, feet on the floor, and have your pillow or your blanket nearby. And roll it, if it's a blanket, roll it up so it's nice and round. So you get a sort of a bolster shape. And just have that off to the side. So lie back, feet on the floor, knees bent. Take a few breaths. Press into your feet, press into your shoulders. And from here, we'll rise up through the pelvis, the ribs, the belly, the heart, into a bridge pose. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other on the back, not down, but in toward the spine. Take a few breaths here. Gather some information about how it feels to be rooting yourself down through 4 points, 2 feet, 2 shoulders. And then take your rolled up blanket, bolster, or pillow, put it under your pelvis. So it's not under the curvy part of the lower back, but it's under the base of the spine and the back of your hips. And now with your feet down, rise up and slide the pelvis to one edge of the bolster or blanket or pillow. And now with your hips off to one edge, pull your knees in and drop them away from the edge that you slid towards. As much as you can, keep your shoulders grounded. Keep your heart facing up. And below the rib is where the spinning is happening through the belly and the outer hip and the legs. And you can hook your ankles, one foot under the other. Take a few breaths here. You can turn your head opposite your knees, or you can keep it neutral, or you can turn it the other way. Look for information. Test some hypotheses. And then be aware of and welcoming of the nuance of tiny little adjustments here and there. And just like in differences of opinion, the right and the wrong is going to hinge on, is someone or something getting hurt? If the answer is no, then right and wrong becomes irrelevant. And the nuance comes forward. Another breath in and an exhale. And then bring the knees back up so you bring yourself to neutral and step your feet back down. Slide your hips to center for a moment. Lift up tall. Rise up away from the support. Dig your shoulders and feet down. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward the spine. Take a breath. Make sure the back of your neck is curved away from the floor, just like the arches of your feet. So we're not flattening the cervical spine. And then slide your hips to the other edge of the support. And then bring your knees in, feet up, and drop the knees over to the other side. Shoulders stay down. You can hook your ankles. Feel the spinning of the belly underneath the ribs, away from the direction you turned your knees. Roll your head in any direction you like. And breathe. And as you're ready, bring the knees up. Bring your feet to the floor. Center the pelvis on the support. Take a breath. Lift up enough to roll the support towards your feet. Bring your hips to the ground and stretch your legs out so the backs of your knees are now getting the support of the bolster, blanket, pillow, whatever it is. Take a few breaths here, simply lying on your back, feeling the undulating curves of the body as it meets the ground and then as it rises away from the ground. And then step the feet in and roll to your side and come up to a comfortable seat. Whatever you were using to support your hips and then under your knees, you can use to sit on top of. Take a few breaths here, sitting quietly, nice and tall. Notice the upright presence of your torso and the stable ground of the pelvis and legs, the steady flow of your breath. And linger here as long as you like to explore the nuance of sensation and data that will arrive into your conscious brain about how your body is existing in this moment. So ultimately, the value here is if you're noticing a disagreement with yourself in your body, some tension or conflict, can you, rather than getting the shallow satisfaction of a temporary stay, get the long-term value of finding out what it's really about and how subtle shifts might bring resolution or harmony or peace. With your palms together at your heart, take a moment to express some gratitude for the things in your life that are enlivening, that are nourishing, that help you find peace, and appreciation and respect for the things that help you learn and grow. I thank you so much for joining me today. Take good care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.